Hi, my name is Christopher Robinson, and thank you for choosing to watch my video. I will be talking about my repeated timed reading program I created when I was a second grade teacher. And we will be asking the question of just how beneficial was this program for the students at that time. For the first part of the presentation, we'll be looking at the intended purpose of the repeated timed reading program. We will be looking at the design and procedures of the program to see how it helps students. And we will be interpreting the data to see if it worked. In final closing thoughts, we will be looking at the positives and negatives of the consequences of the program, how I might change it, and all of that kind of stuff. The first thing we'll do is talk about that the program was had two versions, a first grade version and a second grade version. The second grade version um, had a pretest which would place the students into three groups: approaching, on level, and advanced. Students who placed into approaching would start the beginning of the year with first grade readings and accelerate through the first grade readings to the middle of the school year. And then when they came back from winter break, then they would start with second grade readings with the intention and hope of them becoming third grade ready by the time they exit the program. There was also an on-level version so that all children in the class were able to benefit from the program. They started by reading second grade material, which would be completed by middle of the school year, and then they were allowed to challenge themselves from the middle of the school year until the end of the school year, reading third grade material, making them hopefully more than ready for third grade, so that the kids who placed in the advanced group did not become bored with their education. They were given third grade material at the beginning of the school year and challenged with fourth grade material towards the end of the school year. At the end of the program, we will look at whether or not the program actually reached its intended purposes and goals. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the design and procedures. Repeated timed reading has an extensive reading quality that supports students' growth. Each of the readings is not only a weekly assessment, but also a worksheet. Learning activities include echoic reading, paired reading, and leveled group activities with other students or instructors. We will be taking a look at student B2 and one of his fluency reading assessments. In this case, we will be looking at lesson 7, and the data that will be collected will be recorded onto the quarter 1 trends data worksheet. As with other fluency reading programs, B2's score is based off of his total words per minute subtracted by the number of errors. In this case, B2 read to the word bushes, which gives him a score of 44. Since this was a pre-test, his score would be recorded on the Monday line, and we can see that his 44 falls squarely in the on-level column of the reading targets rubric for quarter 1. Now let's go ahead and see the consequences of his 44 in relation to the data analysis. To make a decision on if the program was beneficial to B2, we will look at his mean scores across the 2016-2017 school year. As noted, B2 received a score of 3 on his Lesson 7 assessments. This put him in the on-level column on the Reading Targets rubric. B2's mean summer score was 1.8, well below the global benchmark score of 3. Moving across B2's row, we see the score of 3 he received on Lesson 7. Following the row, we see he finished Q1, quarter one, with a mean score of 2.4. As a side note, when I was a teacher, I compared his mean score, quarter one score, with his Global 1 fluency proficiency on his normed referenced high stakes tests. Remembering back, I was relieved to see his global reading fluency score also was approaching and not at the target score of 3, which needs to be taken into consideration is that this happened during the beginning of the school year before the MOI middle of the school year. And the score of 3 is what we would hope for at the end of the school year, EOY. The mean score graph illustrates unweighted scores on the left and weighted scores on the right. The justification for weighting the score is the grade level of difficulty, which was a score of 1, introduced to the students after the MOY. On the mean score graph, we see he began the year with a score of 1.8. We see he benefited from an acceptable amount of growth through quarter one. Declining between quarter one and quarter two prompts me to investigate possible variances attributable to the test taker. However, a decline into quarter three means I need to consider variances attributable to the test. Based on the interpretation of data, although there was an acceptable amount of growth from the pre-test to the end of quarter one, the notable drop in his score prompts me to consider possible multiple measurement error variances. As a final thought, we will look at B2 as a part of the whole. Although one individual, B3, may not have fared well beyond the first quarter of the program, we need to consider the impact of the program over the school year. In these charts, please keep in mind that students with an A are female and the students with a B are male. While all students showed growth in quarter one, only B3 demonstrated growth in quarter two. Quarter three showed 2 students, B5 and B8, with adequate growth, and quarter four showed a concerning drop in performance across all students. Here we see all 3 students demonstrated adequate progress in both quarters 1 and 2, while A4 transferred out of the class at the end of quarter 2. We see that A1 showed progress across the program. And this is the kind of performance that I would like to see. The pattern showed in the unweighted scores for the advanced group. It was what I would like to see in all levels of the group. And that includes A1, which we saw previously in the on-level group. I feel this plateau in performance might be a good thing because that means that the students are increasing in their fluency performance as the reading texts are becoming progressively difficult over time. Here we see the 2017-2018 school year compared to the 2016-2017 school year. As illustrated, addressing test variances, including implementation of the program, led to benefit to the students. Although it was great to see the advanced group's success, we need to keep in mind that the program was originally created as an intervention for the AP group, and in this chart, the BG group is a subgroup of the AP group. So, possible future changes might include slowing the rate of difficulty already after quarter one for the approaching groups, and slowing the rate of difficulty for the on-level groups after quarter two. Thank you for your time.